Yo guys, it's Slyroh. You already know that today I am bringing you a Fire Emblem Engage character tier list. This is going to be me talking about all the characters from the game and putting them in the tiers as which ones are the best, which ones are, which ones are my favorite and least favorite. There's not really a best and worst because this is not based on skill or how good they are in the game. There was one point in time where I would have loved to do a tier list like that, but I don't really find myself to be all that qualified to do that because I kind of gave up on my maddening mode playthrough halfway through. And I have no desire to go back to it. So we're just going to talk about the characters as characters today, and we're just going to sort them in, to the tiers, and talk about which ones are my favorite, which ones are my least favorite. This will be the last sort of piece of Fire Emblem Engage content that you will see on my channel probably forever, honestly. After the Fell Xenologue and after I've given some time, I still really like the game, but I have no desire to return to it anytime soon. And then even as I was thinking about this character tier list, I'm like, you know what? The characters in this game, I like them. I think the best part about the Fire Emblem Engage characters is I think this game doesn't really have bad characters in terms of it doesn't have any characters that I outright hate, but I don't really have that character that I'm just like, oh man, well, there might be one, but there's not really too many characters that I'm super passionate about. Someday down the line, I'm sure I would love to do a video like this for Fire Emblem Three Houses. There are at least a dozen characters from Three Houses that I like more than my favorite character in this game. So keep that in the back of your mind. But yeah, this is going to be the sort of wrap up of Fire Emblem Engage. Let's go ahead and talk about the characters. This is just going to take into account how much I like their design, personality. Personality is going to go a long way, but that could also be influenced a little bit by sport conversations and the role in the story, things like that. You'll kind of get into it. Everybody has a different favorite and least favorite character. With these types of games, it is what it is. So let me know some of your favorites and least favorites, and we'll just try to keep it civil. I try to rearrange them in order that you get them in the story, as well as the non-playable characters at the end, which honestly I might end up just doing them sooner than later because I don't feel strongly about most of them. I'm gonna wait till later, and then we'll talk about the four hounds or whatever. So Alear is fine. He's fine, and she's fine. They're fine. I think I slightly still prefer male Alear, just because I'm just a big fan of the voice and the voice actor particularly, and I think that really helps. But I do think they both do a good job with their voice lines. Alear is slightly less of it's just an improvement over Byleth, which is my most recent comparison to sort of the Avatar character. Alear at least has their own personality. They're still kind of neutral, but they do have their own story and figuring out their way in the world and whatnot. I don't really mind the hero worship because they are a divine dragon inside the world. So it is what it is, but I just don't think they're not bad. They don't negatively take away from the story. I think D is just going to be the only one that's if any time that there's a character that I feel is making my time with the game worse, I think they'll go into D. Anything else will go above. C is just neutral. I'm not upset when they're on screen, but I'm not super invested on anything they have to do. I think Vander is probably going to go the same way. I really like Vander's design. Should I guess I'll rank them inside the tiers. I don't know if it matters that much. Vander, I like the design. I sort of like his personality. He's kind of just strict, straight, focused on the task at hand, business oriented type deal. And outside of his cool design and cool voice, I don't know that he offers all that much. He doesn't really stick around in my party. I mean, as a unit, doesn't really affect my rankings here. But that also means that because I'm not really using him on my team, I definitely don't. I did not see every, support conversation and everything like that. So I don't know that there's that much extra depth to him either. He's fine. He's fine. Clan, I think I'll put in B. I'd like Clan. Clan is cool. Conceptually, I feel like I would like him a lot more. I kind of have a soft spot for characters that are soft-spoken, maybe a little bit of low self-confidence, that sort of overcome that, and I don't know if Clan does. I guess he kind of does to an extent. The thing with most of these characters is there isn't really any sort of growth for any of them. What you see is what you get, and that's kind of it. The only one that has any sort of growth is I guess Alear, and maybe I don't know, like maybe you could make some arguments for like an Ivy Hortensia. I'm probably missing out on some Veil maybe. I don't know. I don't know. So that's I just feel like Clan is cool. I like his personality. He's nice. He wants to be helpful, but he doesn't have anything to really put him like set him up above. Fram, however, I think so she's the one that I actually gave the pack ring to. And I feel like as much as I want to put her S, I think I'm gonna put her A. I know people find her annoying, but I've always found her to be pretty funny. Very high energy, spunky personality. You know, big fan of the Divine Dragon. I'm a big fan of her. I think she's really cool. She has this sort of presence to her. Her support conversations with Diamant specifically are really, really good and stick out in my mind as really good support conversations. So I don't know. I really just like her energy. I know that people find her annoying, but I find it kind of charming. So I like it. Alfred. Man, I haven't really thought about Alfred all that much. Like, a part of me wants to kind of just put him in B tier, but he is also kind of funny in a way. And I think like the characters that like are only serious, I like the characters that aren't taken too seriously, because I feel like I don't take this game's characters or story like too seriously. So when they have a little bit of lightheartedness to it, that is the ones that I like, which is kind of why I like Fram, and that will reflect in some of my opinions later in the list as well. Yeah, I kind of want to put Alfred A just because he has some unintentionally funny moments. I mean, he does have that backstory of like being sick and sort of trying to overcome that because he needs to be the king of Fierne and all that sort of stuff. So he's got a little bit of depth to him. He's pretty cool. He's I know in the support conversation with the Lear, he's a little creepy, but you know, it is what it is. I think Saline in most games would probably be a C, but I think I'm putting her in D, just because I have no desire for almost any of her support conversations, just because you know that they're gonna have to do with tea and stuff. And the only exception that I can think of is her ones with Alchrist. But like one good support conversation isn't enough to save her, and I'm sure she has like one or two others. But she just doesn't really offer all that much. Ruthless Saline in the Fel Xenologue, however, would probably bump her up to at least C, because then there's at least something interesting going on. But she just doesn't really have anything that I care all that much about. Yeah, she's gonna go in D. Boucheron's probably the closest to S. I'm actually gonna put him in A, because I find him very relatable. I also have a terrible sense of direction. I think it's really funny that everybody's trying to figure out his secret as to why he's so like built and jacked and whatnot. He's just like, I'm just a dude, like, I don't know. He's a big softy, crying over books, very emotional, and as the older I get, the more emotional I feel like I'm getting. You know what? Nah, screw it. He's going to the S tier. Alright, Boucheron is my spirit animal, I guess. I don't know. I relate to him so much. I like Boucheron a lot. That's not where I expected to put him. He's not my favorite character, so he's not gonna be the top of S. I have at least one, potentially two. Yeah, I think I have at least two characters that are going above him. But we'll see. I might be forgetting some. Etier, I think, is gonna go B tier, but below Clan. She's kind of funny. You know, she is straightforward, which I like that about people that are straightforward about their feelings. You know, she has her big, you know, working out shtick, her muscles, all that sort of stuff, which is funny in some instances and kind of annoying in other instances, but I don't think that it's enough of a negative detractor to keep her down from B. So I think Etier is going to go right there. Louis. Oh, actually, I haven't really thought that much about Louis. Louis might also go into D tier. Louis is just kind of creepy. Like, Louis is just one big joke because he has, like, his eyes closed, and the joke is that he's always watching people. That's kind of it. He doesn't really have much besides that. Honestly, Saline offers a little bit more. Louis might be my least favorite. We'll see. Like, it sucks because he's a good unit, and so, like, I use him all the time, but he just is not interesting. All of his support conversations are, oh, I'm watching people. Oh, is that weird? No, I just like watching people. I don't know. Like, no, it's not weird, but the way I interpret it is it's just a giant joke because his eyes are closed and he likes watching people, and that's the full extent of his character. He's another one that also talks about tea a lot, which I don't know, isn't like specifically a bad thing, but if that's one of your main things, it's like, I don't know. That being said, I don't think Chloe has like a ton of depth to her, but I think Chloe is absolutely one of my favorite characters. Design helps in the voice and just the way that she carries herself. Her obsession with like folk food and just eating weird stuff and trying new things. It's really nice. Some of her interactions, like her supports with like Amber and stuff, I thought was really, really cool. How she's just like nice and friendly and just gets along with everybody. I feel like she had a good support conversation with Jean as well. I just feel like every time that she is involved with anything, it's just better than when she's not there. And that's kind of all I can ask for any of these characters. That's why Chloe is one of my favorites. Diamant's a fun case because Diamant is one that I would generally put into the category of being like sort of boring action hero, which is not something that I care for all that much. However, every single time that I watch a support conversation with Diamant or hear him talk about literally anything, my opinion of him goes up and up even more, to the point that I think I'd put him at the top of A tier right now. I think he doesn't initially give off anything that's super interesting, but you know, obviously he has to deal with the death of his father, and taking over the role of king. I think his ideas as to what makes it a successful kingdom is really cool, as seen in more conversations with Fram. He also has a hilarious support conversations with Tamara. Diamant just always finds ways to get out of the shell. Him and Alchrist have a really good one, and you find out that, you know, he doesn't see himself as the perfect, you know, embodiment of a specimen that everybody else does, and showcases some weaknesses as well. Diamant's just really, really cool, and every single time I see him in anything, my opinion of him just goes higher and higher. I probably initially would have put him like C, but just like over time, he's risen to the top of A. Alchrist is one that in concept, I would put S, but in practice, I'm going to put in D. Alchrist just never sort of grows, or even he doesn't even really have any sort of great moment of accepting like his flaws or weaknesses or whatever. It's, you know, he doesn't need to be all super self-confident and all that, but he sort of just puts himself down so much and never really changes from that, and to the point where I just get a lot of secondhand embarrassment from watching his sport conversations. If he had any sort of movement from being confident, any like moment in the story where he steps up and like does something, I think that would be enough. I was waiting for that the whole time, but Alchrist just never delivered, which is sad because I feel like he has it in him to be a great character, but because he didn't get any sort of focus, or there wasn't any attention to actually growing the characters in the story, Alchrist did not get that moment to just be better, you know, if that makes sense. So it's a sad case. If you watch my playthrough, I've made my points about Alchrist clear throughout, and he just never really rise to the occasion, which is very sad. Amber is hilarious to me. I find his shtick really funny. This is another one that people find annoying, but I don't really take Amber all that seriously, and as a result, he is my favorite character so far. I'm probably like the only person who feels this way. I don't know. The idea of him just wanting to be a hero and be remembered and all that is fun. He's very goofy, very silly. His alpaca thing is really funny. I lost it the very first time that you have him make a meal and he just starts making llama noises. It's just, it caught me so off guard, especially because I didn't know anything about Amber at that point, and that was the moment where I knew I had to learn more about him. He's very simple, very straightforward. It's not like he has this like huge depth to him or anything like that. He is what you see is what you get. You either like him or you don't, and a lot of people don't, but I do. So Amber goes up there for me. Jade, I feel like if I knew more about Jade, because the idea of her being like a writer, writing books, but she kind of hides some of what she's doing. She's definitely going in at least C tier. I can't think of too much more positive to say about her, and maybe that's just reflective on the fact that I don't really use her all that much. I would still say it's generally positive. I'm gonna put her at the bottom of B. I don't have much more to say other than she's kind of neat. And instead of just being this like strong tough girl, because that's what you would expect from like female general in this sort of game like this, but she doesn't really give off that like Etienne is sort of the personality that I would expect like someone like Jade to have. But instead, she's more about like books and stuff like that, and it's pretty funny. So yeah, I'll put her in B. I think Citrine goes to the bottom of C. I get nothing from her. I just get nothing from her, you know, other than she's very privileged and comes from a lot of money. But like I feel like she's the most nothing character. I get nothing from her. I feel so neutral about her that I just don't really have words of what to say. Lapis. Oh, dude, I kind of forgot. Lapis is kind of amazing, isn't she? Probably have more characters in this game that I like more than I thought. Oh, that's crazy. I think Lapis is another S tier. I like Lapis more than Amber. She has her funny, like, quirks from wherever she's from, that just never translate. You never know what sort of string of words is going to come from her mouth anytime she talks about how things should be done. But she is nice. I think she's my favorite so far. Lapis and just her interaction with everybody is just really funny. Yeah. She's, like, good at a lot of, like, weird stuff, too. Yeah, no, I like that. Yunaka is obviously one of the better characters, how she's putting on a facade for everyone around her, and sort of trying to remove herself from who she used to be. And I think that is inherently interesting. I think I'll put her S tier. I almost still like Lapis more, but Yunaka is, like, objectively just, like, one of the best characters because she actually, like, has more depth to her that you get to learn about. So there is that, and her goals for what she wants to do are also very good. Yeah, I think that's a solid spot. Jean, I'm gonna put in the bottom of B tier. He's kind of a nothing character. He's too good. He has no flaws, and he's, like, a child. Like, he's more mature than, like, literally every other character in the game, and he has no reason to be. But he's just nice. But I feel like he either needs a little bit of edge or, like, something quirky about him, or something. But without that, it's like, he's good. I like him. But, like, where's your flaw? Where's your, I don't know, like, anything? Where's your weird personality? You're just, like, so straightforward and normal in a cast of a bunch of weirdos. I don't understand. But I feel like if he wasn't a child, he would probably be in C. But the fact that he's a child, it kind of makes that whole thing a little bit funnier. Which just gives him the edge enough to be in B tier. Anna, Anna is cool. I think I'm going to put Anna in A, maybe right below Fram. Anna is one that her voice still just sort of, it's grown on me over time, but that dub voice is also used in a lot of other animes, and so it's hard for it to feel like distinctly Anna's voice when I can picture so many other characters that use that voice. That being said, Anna does have a fun personality. Obviously, she's going to lean into the whole merchant thing. She's also a child, so why this, like, 10-year-old is, you know, wheeling and dealing everybody is anybody's guess. Yeah, I don't know. Just the fact that she's trying to make a deal on everybody is pretty funny, and the fact she's a small child also is pretty funny. So we'll put that in A for Anna. Ivy, I don't feel like I've ever gotten much from. I feel like there's more depth to her than I've been given the chance to see. I'm gonna put her in B tier, somewhere around, like, Jade. She does have a really good design that also carries her a little bit, but I could not really tell you that much about her and her personality. I also still, you know, it's always very strange to me when she is, like, fighting us, attacking against us, and then as soon as she joins our army, a lot of her conversations are how, like, obsessive she is about the Divine Dragon and how he's, like, you know, how they're like a deity of sorts. And it feels like those two things are, like, very much opposed. They're probably not, but I feel like the game doesn't do a great job with the storytelling and world building for it to be super, to make a lot of sense for me. But I'm still gonna put her in B just because she has a pretty nice personality, good design, and that's, I don't know, she has a presence in the story, so that helps. Kagetsu, obviously a really good unit. I feel like I don't really get much from Kagetsu. I think I'm just gonna put him in C tier, just because, I don't know, I just don't get much from him and from his personality. I don't really have much more to say about that. There isn't anything that stands out about him in any of his supports that I can think of. I'm sure he has kind of an interesting backstory, I guess, but I don't know, I feel like he just doesn't do much with it. Yeah, that's fine. Zelkov is A tier for sure. Who do I like him more than? Probably everybody. I just don't think he's S tier, because he has, like, his interesting speech patterns, which never really get explained, which is interesting. I was really hoping for some sort of explanation as to, like, why he talks the way he does. But he's kind of funny that he just picks up random hobbies, and that's just what he does. Whatever he feels like doing is what he does, which I respect. You know, they sort of play off the joke of that he looks scary and then he's not in a couple of different conversations. Zelkov just has a pretty cool presence. I like him a lot. Fogado is another one that I like a lot. I would probably put him in the middle of A tier, maybe right around here. He just has a really good personality. Very lighthearted, playful, you know, charismatic, all that sort of stuff. And a lot of that is just, you know, being lighthearted and trying to lift the mood of everybody around him. He's just really, really nice. I just like Fogado. I think he's pretty neat. He's pretty cool, and I like him a lot. Bune is probably one of my favorite characters, only because he's just really funny. Like I cannot listen to him talk to anybody without bursting out laughing because he's making some ridiculous food reference that doesn't make sense. He's also man, I don't know how to say it, but he's very flamboyant in a way that reminds me of people that I hang out with in real life, and that he's kind of like a weird comfort character, and I don't really know how to explain that better. That I like, man, I remember, like, I think his conversation with like Jean or something like that was just like, I think Jean like picked a flower, and like just something about the vibe and the energy that Bune gives off is something that I just find very comforting. He's another one that I know people don't like, partially because he's not a very good unit, which is unfortunate, but I really like his personality, even if I probably wouldn't like his sort of like weird like licking thing would not translate well in real life, but it's hilarious in the game. That's the one thing where it's just like that part of his personality that's not reminding me of somebody I know, or people that I know. But a lot of the other parts of his personality do, and the licking thing and like tasting stuff is just really funny in the context of a video game. So that's why he's landing as my favorite character so far. I think there's only going to be one more that's going to surpass him. So spoiler alert. And that is not going to be Pandreo. Pandreo's pretty cool though. I think I'll put Pandreo at the bottom of A tier. Pandreo is just one that I haven't learned a ton about, but the vibe of him being like a church guy that is more focused on uplifting people's spirits, keeping people happy, the fellowship part of it, I think that's really respectable. And, you know, he's not just going around shoving his ideas and stuff in other people's faces, but he's just sort of there to be a positive force for those around him. And that's very, very cool. Tamara, I think I'll put in B tier, probably around this area. Again, I don't feel like I get a ton from Tamara. That's not entirely true. Like, she's around. She also has a very quirky personality. She can be very outgoing and excited and whatnot. The fact that she was able to get Diamant to sing in their sport conversation is ridiculous. And I can't believe that happened. Tamara just has, yeah, like a fun, infectious energy to her. But she's another one that I don't think I watched a ton of support conversations for, so there might be some more depth to her, but none that I know of right now. So there's that. Marin is cool. Marin is cool. I think she kind of goes kind of around here. Yeah, maybe somewhere in that area. It's like she's cool. She has this sort of like idea of like heroes, or just looking cool. I think I was mixing her up with Chloe liking heroes and Amber and stuff. I think there's some part of that because I remember her support conversation with Alir. And I don't know. I feel like there's probably more support conversations that would maybe unlock some depth, but I just don't know that I got that much from her. So it is what it is. Panette, I don't really like Panette that much. Not enough to put her in D tier, but enough to kind of just put her in C tier. A lot of it is just because I don't like the design, like, at all. The mouth thing. Just not the biggest fan of that. Personality, she's fine. You know, the fact that she's sort of hiding her true origins by like talking fancy is pretty interesting, and at least there's some interesting support conversations where I know like she was trying to, I think it was like her and Saphir that like she was like trying to teach her to be more proper or something, and it just like wasn't working. And I don't know. That part of me is just like, I don't know. You don't need to force other people to like speak in some way, especially if they're not like royalty in any sort. It's not like she's like training a princess of like how to be presentable or something. Like there's context where that sort of stuff works. But I don't know. I don't really like Panette that much, although she is an incredible unit. Hortensia, I don't really like. I just don't really like her. She's one that I think there is some depth and whatnot. Her design is a little bit too much. In a game where I do appreciate when it goes over the top, I almost think Hortensia crosses that line for me, where it's just very hard to take her seriously. I know people say that she gets like so much from she gets more in like support conversations, and you get like learn so much depth, but like every support conversation that I watch with her is she's just like, aren't I so cute? Tell me how cute I am. And it's just like, no, I don't want to. Like, you're annoying. Get out my face. I don't know. But I don't know. Like, she's not terrible. Better than these three, barely. But, and there's a chance that there's more to her that I'm missing, but she just didn't really click with me at all. Cito's probably like a B tier. I think he's cool. His sort of like, divine readings, I can't even think of what they're called, like the tarot readings or whatever, are pretty interesting. Having a male dancer is cool, and having a dancer in general is cool, and that's sort of part of his identity as well. It's not just like a random class that he's in. I don't know. It's cool. I like him a lot. I'm kind of looking at the time. I want to make sure this doesn't go too long. Yeah, I guess we'll go. I was like, at some point, I don't know when I want to talk about these. I guess we'll just save it for the end. Rosado, I think, is my favorite character. Rosado has such an infectious personality, and he encourages everybody to just be their best selves. He's so good at complimenting people. He's passionate about his art as well. And like, he just always makes everything better. His voice lines are very funny. They're just great. And I just respect Rosado so much. For just, he feels just like very authentic, and he portrays that very well, and encourages others to do the same as well. So yeah, love Rosado. I think Rosado is probably my favorite character in the game. I don't think we're seeing any more S tiers, because actually we're probably finding my least favorite character in the game, Goldberry. I guess she's a little bit over the top, but she's also just like so mean. I don't know. I don't stand a mean girl around here. We don't really like that. She's kind of just obnoxious, and by kind of, I mean she's so obnoxious. I don't know. I guess there's a world where I shouldn't take her that seriously, but I feel like she reminds me of people that I don't like talk to on a daily basis or anything like that, but like, the type of people that she reminds you of, and you don't like any of them. So I don't know. I just feel like I get only negative stuff every time she's on screen. So that's why she's probably my least favorite. I don't think there's anybody that's going to be lower than her. Lyndon is fine. I feel like Lyndon is almost a C tier, but then he wanted to do science experiments on Alir by just like zapping him with lightning. And I think that sort of boosts him up a bit. Maybe even like up here. I think Lyndon is kind of kooky and weird, but in a good way. But he's not around for that long. I don't think he has a ton of support conversations, and he doesn't have a ton of variety. But I still like him anyway. Saphir is kind of a nothing character. I think the best thing about her is her design and just general personality, but I don't think that there's much done with that. What you see is what you get. She shows up pretty late, and that's just kind of what it is. So I don't know. I'll put her there. I don't really have a lot of great things to say about the rest of these characters. Vale is fine. Oh gosh, she's fine. She's good, even. You just throw in the middle of B. I don't know, she has a likable personality, when you first meet her. The twist is pretty interesting. Everything you learn about her is pretty cool. But I don't think it's enough to rocket her up any, higher, but I don't, dislike her at all. So, that's fine. Mauvier is kind of a nothing character for me. I think Saphir looks cooler. I don't really like the four hounds. I'll go ahead and just get that out of the way. Mavier just doesn't really make sense. Like his motivations are just a little weird as to like why he's with the four hounds, and it's like they're clearly doing all this bad stuff, and it feels like the whole time that he just doesn't really agree with it. But the only thing he cares about is like protecting Vale, and then like I don't know. It just seems weird. Like I still cannot comprehend how he gets involved with the four hounds and continues to stand aside when all this stuff is happening until like way too late, until it's like convenient for the story, essentially. Speaking of being convenient for the story, Marnie is like a terrible person until it's her time to not be a terrible person. I don't know, she shouldn't be D tier because like, no, I don't really like her. Marnie kind of sucks. Like, she's just like evil and like the worst person possible. And then she's like, oh, actually, I changed my mind. I'm actually going to sacrifice myself or whatever. So you know how that goes. That's more on Engage's writing, but that does sort of reflect poorly on Marnie as a character, because just like, oh, just try and forget all the time that she delighted in other people's pain like the whole time. So you know, I think Gris is even like worse. He actually like gets nothing. He gets nothing. You learn nothing about him, and the only things that he says is how much he wants to feel pain, I guess. Which is just like, I don't know, annoying. This chick, this Zephia, I think that's her name. She has a little bit more of a presence, at least. So I think I'd put her in like C tier. I don't dislike her. Let's see. I don't dislike her. She doesn't really get like, I guess they try to give her a little bit of like a redemption, but like, I don't know. It never really feels the same as, it doesn't feel as like egregious as like Marnie. I don't know. I'll just throw in C tier. I like her design, and well, I guess the horns are a bit much, and in fact she is pretty evil, but I don't know. She's sort of the one of the four hounds that I think just has like the most presence, and is pretty good. Lumera's kind of a nothing character. Her design and voice are very good. He plays the motherly role very well for the short time that have that. The relationship between her and Lear is not very believable, and that's the thing that I sort of struggle with her. But that's not really her fault as a character. I don't know. I'm still gonna throw in C. This dude that I already forget the name of, he's like the main villain of the game. Whatever. I don't really care. I think that's, putting him in D tier is probably just a reflection of how much I don't care about the story and how much they focus on him like at the end or whatever. So it's just whatever. I'm not even sure I know who this is. I think this might be the Queen of Fiernae, Aileen and Alfred's mom, Queen Ev. Queen Ev is also just like a nothing character. So I mean, I guess I'll throw her. I don't know. This is just the sort of nothing characters. Morian at least has some stuff, but the only thing he does is rush into a battle that he kind of like expects to die in, or maybe he doesn't, but he still sort of rushes recklessly. But he has a likable personality that at least I remember more. I think I'm still just going to put him at the top of C tier. I don't know. And then this, I think her name is Sephoria. Oh, so she's really cool. I like her design. She just seems really nice. She seems like a neat lady. I like her. I don't know. She's just very likable. And then the way she calls out Hortensia in chapter 14, I think that's pretty funny. I just like her. She's cool. I think this is Hyacinth. I don't or whatever. It doesn't matter. And then no, Tommy's the best character in the game, obviously. So that is my tier list. I think I feel pretty good about any of these. Tommy's is actually kind of a nothing character, but I won't. You know, they're adorable. They're adorable. You can't disrespect Tommy. But outside of that, I definitely feel like all these are pretty accurate about my opinions, and I have more in S tier than I expected. So there are some characters that I do like a good bit, but there's just so many characters that I just feel neutral to slightly negative about. There are more egregious, like terrible characters in other video games and other Fire Emblem games that are not nearly as bad as some of these, but in the context of Fire Emblem Engage, these are the worst, these are the best, and that is how I feel. So let me know some of your opinions. Did I do anything crazy to make you angry and make you want to write a 3-page essay on why I'm the worst person to have ever lived? If so, let me know, and I will be sure to read it at least. And yeah, so this is going to be the last sort of bit of Fire Emblem Engage content. There's probably going to be a lack of Fire Emblem just in general for a while, until I get some time clear my schedule from other games that are new and hot and fresh. But yeah, so let me know your opinions. Who are your favorites? Who are your least favorites? And I will see y'all around for future videos. So until then,